A few weeks post the FBI raid in Mar-a-Lago, and yes, we know we have both Merrick Garland and Chris Wray to thank for it, including many others. But who really kickstarted this investigation? Well, folks, you're not going to believe it. It's this guy, David Ferriero, the 10th archivist of the United States. And as Trump was exiting the White House on January 20th, 2021, this is the footage that triggered David Ferriero. Do you see anything wrong with this? Well, apparently, Ferriero did. And here's what he had to say. I can't remember watching the Trumps leaving the White House and saying to myself, what the hell is in that box? That began a whole process of trying to determine whether any records had not been turned over to the archives. In a nutshell, this guy was trying to find just about anything to target Trump post-presidency. But is Trump legally protected? And if so, how? Let's bring in our panel to break all this down. Join us tonight, Mike Davis, former clerk to Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch, and the founder of Article 3 Project, and Erin Elmore is an attorney, Republican strategist, and columnist for townhall.com. Welcome to you both. Hey, Erin, what are your reactions to this Ferriero guy and his part in this raid?
Well, he's obviously being used as a political pawn here, and I would describe it as one word, and that is pathetic. We already know that when a president leaves office, he can classify anything that he wants. He can have Barron walking out of there with documents if he wants. He can literally do absolutely anything at that point in time pursuant to all the powers that presided for presidency. So this is just basically another fishing expedition, and we'll get into the subpoenas and the affidavits. This whole thing is nothing more than a way to take down President Trump and tarnish his image and possibly prohibit him from running again.
That's how it seems. Mike, I want to go to you. The president is obviously protected by the Presidential Records Act of 1978, and it requires the president and his staff take all practical steps to file personal records separately from presidential records. And the president basically has discretion to determine what is personal material. It seems like they leave this out of the conversation, but how much of that is true, Mike, that he could basically wave a wand?
So Erin's exactly right. The Supreme Court in a 1988 case, Department of Navy versus Egan, made it very clear that the President of the United States as Commander-in-Chief can classify or declassify anything he wants for any reason he wants. He doesn't have to report it to anyone, including any bureaucrat or librarian at the National Archives who works for him. And he doesn't have to follow the statutes, the regulations that apply to everyone else on the planet except for the president. So when President Trump took records out of the White House, they are declassified by his actions. He can absolutely wave a magic wand, just like when President Obama got caught on the hot mic in March of 2012, telling the president of Russia that he would have more negotiating room after the presidential election on nuclear defense programs. That's highly classified nuclear documents, nuclear materials. But President Obama cannot be charged under the Espionage Act because he's the commander-in-chief. And just like you said with the Presidential Records Act, the president has the sole determination whether a record is personal that goes to him or a presidential record that goes to the archives and then goes back to his library. This is a political witch hunt.
Taking it one step further, Erin, I saw you on with my buddy John Bachman the other day, talking about whether this whole raid even met the standard. You and Professor Dershowitz were kind of disagreeing on the point, let's just say. Let's take a look at Erin and her thoughts on what the raid is and if it even counts at all.
Probable cause doesn't need a prosecutor and a defense attorney and a jury of someone's peers to ascertain that there is probable cause. It can be a biased form to get to that conclusion.
I agree with some of what was said by a previous guest, but I disagree fundamentally with some of it. There's plenty of probable cause.
Hey, Mike, Erin, it turns out the assistant director of the FBI came out and agreed with you over Professor Dershowitz. But, Mike, I want to ask you, to Erin's point, Could this whole thing be much to do about nothing if they didn't meet the burden for reasonable grounds to even get the warrant?
Yeah, I mean, they went to a biased judge. This magistrate judge, Bruce Reinhardt, just recused from President Trump's civil lawsuit against Hillary Clinton on Russian collusion on June 22nd. Apparently, his obvious judicial bias under 28 U.S.C. 455A and Canon 2 and Canon 2A of the judicial canons disappeared over a six-week period when he authorized this unnecessary, unprecedented, unlawful home raid on a former president. Look, at the end of the day, Newsweek, the Biden Justice Department leaked out to Newsweek, I think by mistake, what this is all about. President Trump took a declassified personal copy of the Crossfire hurricane records with him to Mar-a-Lago. They are damning for Obama, Biden, Hillary, the FBI, the intel community, and that's what this raid is all about. They're going to get these records.
And they want them back, that's for sure. Speaking of past presidents, there have been a few scandals regarding records, one being Bill Clinton's audio tapes that were hidden in his sock drawer. Judicial Watch was all over this back in 2012, but the judge didn't even act upon it. Take a look at this memorandum he wrote from January 20th, 1993 to January 2001. Branch recorded 79 audio tapes that preserved Clinton's thoughts and commentary on issues he was facing as president, telephone conversations. And the judge ruled against Clinton handing over the audio tapes with protection from the Presidential Records Act. Erin, shouldn't they be just doing this for Trump too?
Of course not, because there are two standards of justice. There's one if you're a Democrat and you have a server in your house and you're killing things with bleach bit and hitting hard drives. And there's another if you're a Republican. So it's a completely biased system. And to piggyback on Mike's point is that, this judge, Bruce Reinhardt in Palm Beach here, he also made disparaging comments about President Trump on social media and I believe donated to Hillary Clinton's campaign. So the probable cause is therefore tainted. So all of this from the beginning is absolutely mired in controversy and is nothing more than a complete and utter witch hunt.
I'm going to rattle off my 9th grade legal skills. It sounds like it could be the fruit of the poisonous tree. But some great legal expertise from you guys. Not quite myself. Mike Davis, Erin Elmore, thank you so much.
I don't think there's any poison tree here, just poison Democrats.
There you go. Guys, have a great night. Thank you.